This video is about 8 creatures, 8 points on a timeline that stretches back 400 million years. And the thing is, the deeper you go, the worse it gets, but not in the way you think. The old ones are big, nightmare big, but the younger ones, they're clever. Vertical jaws that snap upward like bear traps, parasites that hijack nervous systems, fleas the size of your thumb that drank dinosaur blood. Before anything else, you need one piece of biology, and then we're done with the classroom forever. Insects don't have lungs. They breathe through a network of tiny tubes called tracheae. Oxygen just diffuses straight into their tissue, which means there's a hard ceiling on how big they can get. The thicker the body, the harder it is for oxygen to reach the center. At today's 21% atmospheric oxygen, that ceiling is low. A beetle can only get so fat before its own core starts suffocating. But 300 million years ago, oxygen hit 35%. The ceiling didn't just rise, it practically disappeared. And insects responded fast. Researchers raised fruit flies in high oxygen chambers and got 20% size increases in 5 generations. 5. That's not evolution on a geological timescale. That's evolution you could watch from a lawn chair. But oxygen alone doesn't explain everything. The largest land arthropod ever found comes from a period when oxygen was only around 23%, barely above modern levels. Something else was happening. Nothing else could fly. For roughly 100 million years, there were no birds, no bats, no pterosaurs. Insects owned the sky completely, and nothing above them was selecting for smallness. No reason to be quick, no reason to hide, no reason not to just keep growing. And the world they grew in? It was on fire. Permanently. 30% oxygen means lightning doesn't start a campfire. It starts an inferno that doesn't stop. Carboniferous coal deposits are up to 70% charcoal. The forests were 30-meter club moss trees rooted in warm swamp water, and you could always smell smoke. That's the planet. Now meet what lived on it. Number 1. Rhyniognatha Hirsti, roughly 400 million years old and possibly the oldest insect ever found. Possibly. Here's what we actually have. A single fragmentary head. Jaws on a microscope slide, pulled from a chunk of Scottish rock called the Rhyniognatha back in 1919. For decades, nobody thought much of it. Then, in 2004, a reanalysis of the jaw structure suggested something wild. The anatomy implied it could fly. That would push the origin of insect flight back 50 to 80 million years, earlier than anyone thought. Then, in 2017, another team looked again and said it might not even be an insect, might be a centipede, still unresolved. The world it came from is equally strange. The Rhyniognatha preserves an entire ecosystem in volcanic silica like a snapshot in glass. Mites, early spider relatives, springtails, tiny predators and scavengers crawling through a landscape where the tallest plant reached your knee and sulfurous steam vents hissed between the stems. Everything on land was millimeters long. But something had already crawled out of the water and started eating. You just can't tell exactly what it was yet. Number 2, Palaeodictyoptera, the 6-winged insects. 318 to 252 million years ago. Before anything with a spine left the ground, these were already in the air with a body plan that no longer exists anywhere on Earth. 2 main flight pairs plus a third set of smaller winglets up front. 6 wings. Evolution tried it, ran it for 66 million years, and then deleted it. The largest known species, Mesotheros enormis, had a wingspan of 56 centimeters. Found in the Mazon Creek fossil beds in Illinois, one of the richest windows into Carboniferous life on the planet. It had a long, beak-like mouth held vertically, stabbing into plant stems to drink fluid. Not like a mosquito. More like a flying syringe the size of a crow. In the air they flew fast but couldn't turn well. Think less hummingbird, more miniature World War II bomber. Straight line speed, not agility. Those extra winglets? They're actually a clue to how insect wings evolved in the first place. Wings may have originally appeared on all 3 body segments before being stripped back to 2. You're not looking at a weird mutation, you're looking at the prototype. They went extinct at the end of the Permian. The plant communities they depended on collapsed and they couldn't adapt. The six-wing design was a dead end. But for 66 million years it worked. Number 3, Pulmonoscorpius, roughly 336 million years ago. Not technically an insect, it's an arachnid, but it breathed the same air and walked the same ground, and you would not care about the taxonomic distinction if you saw it. 70 centimeters long. The modern emperor scorpion maxes out at 20. This thing was roughly the length of a baseball bat. And it hunted in broad daylight. Large compound eyes with 40 to 60 lenses per eye. This wasn't a nocturnal ambush predator hiding under rocks. It watched you coming. It tracked movement. Here's the detail that matters. Small pincers, large stinger. In modern scorpion biology, that ratio is a reliable signal. Scorpions with big claws crush their prey. Scorpions with small claws and a big stinger rely on venom. Pulmonoscorpius was a chemical weapon on legs. Now, and this is speculation, not established science, its venom evolved to target carboniferous arthropod nervous systems. Not yours. A sting from this thing might not even hurt a mammal. You could get jabbed by the largest scorpion that ever lived and maybe just feel a bee sting. We genuinely don't know. But it's biologically plausible, and somehow that's almost worse. You're not even on the menu. You're irrelevant. Number 4, Arthropleura. 344 to 292 million years ago, the largest land arthropod that has ever existed, 2.6 meters long, 50 kilograms, the weight and length of a female alligator, the width of a dining room table. If one crawled across a parking space, it would fill most of it. In 2018, a PhD student was walking along Howick Bay on the Northumberland coast after a cliff collapse had dumped fresh rock onto the beach. Sitting in the rubble was the oldest and largest Arthropleura specimen ever found. It took 4 people to carry. But the strangest part isn't the size. For 170 years, nobody had ever found a head. Thousands of body segments, trackways, partial fossils, no head. Then in 2024, CT scans of 2 juvenile specimens from France finally revealed one. And it broke assumptions. Stalked eyes like a crustacean, mandibles with features of both millipedes and centipedes. It wasn't purely either. It sat at the junction of both groups. One of the researchers said he'd overturned 20 years of his own work. It wasn't a swamp creature either. The fossils come from ancient river channel sediment, open coastal woodland, not stagnant bogs. It was a slow-moving detritivore. No venom, no predatory adaptations. Short, closely packed legs shuffling through leaf litter. It died out in the early Permian when the climate dried. And here's the thing about being 2.5 meters of exoskeleton, you have to molt to grow. Shedding your entire outer body at that scale requires extreme moisture and stability. When the world dried out, Arthropleura couldn't undress anymore. That's the biggest thing on this list. But the video isn't about to end on size, it's about to get worse in a completely different way. Number 5, Meganeuropsis, the griffin flies. 304 to 283 million years ago, the largest insect that ever flew. 71 centimeter wingspan, 43 centimeter body. The wingspan of a red-tailed hawk in an animal that weighed about as much as a large apple. It was almost all wing. These weren't dragonflies, despite what every documentary calls them. Griffin flies, a separate order called Meganeuropsis. They couldn't hover, couldn't make sharp turns. What they could do was go fast and hit hard. A 2018 study confirmed it, enlarged eyes meeting at the top of the head, giving near-complete forward vision, and spiny legs arranged into a mid-air basket. A flying trap. It spotted prey, accelerated, and snatched it out of the sky. It ate other large insects, probably Palaeodictyoptera. Maybe small vertebrates, that's unproven, but the body plan supports it. Here's the part that should bother you. Some griffin flies stayed massive even after oxygen levels dropped significantly. The thing that was supposed to explain them stopped explaining them, and they just kept flying. Oxygen opened the door. But something else kept it open. They finally disappeared around the end Permian extinction when oxygen crashed, the climate destabilized, and the first flying vertebrates started showing up. 3 killing blows at once? Even then, it took all 3. Now, everything up to this point has been about size, about the Carboniferous and its overgrown monsters. The next 3 are from the Cretaceous 100 million years ago, and they are small. and they are so much worse. Number 6. Haidomyrmecinae, the hell ants. 99 million years ago, 9 or 10 species, all known exclusively from amber, among the earliest branches of the ant family tree, and every single one of them had jaws that moved wrong. Every living ant on Earth bites side to side, mandibles that open and close horizontally. Hell ants snapped upward, vertical mandibles that slammed prey against a horn growing from their forehead. Nothing alive today does this. Nothing extinct that we know of did it before them. It was a design that existed for a window of time and then vanished completely. And we know exactly how it worked, because one of them was caught in the act. A 99 million year old amber specimen preserves a hell ant mid-kill, mandibles locked upward, pinning a cockroach relative against its head horn. The prey is still there. You can see the contact point, fossilized murder, frozen mid-frame. Then there's Lingua myrmex vladi, Vlad the impaler ant. Its horn was reinforced with metal, iron, or calcium, and likely used to puncture prey and drink their hemolymph, their blood. It's named after Vlad III, and it earned the name. Now, speculation. Their jaws were so specialized that they may not have been able to feed themselves normally. One hypothesis is that they fed captured prey to their larvae, then sliced the larvae open and drank their blood instead. This sounds invented. It's not. A living group called Dracula ants does exactly this today. Whether hell ants did, it is unproven, but the plumbing fits. One brief note. Many Cretaceous amber specimens, including some of these, come from Myanmar's Kachin state, where the amber trade has been linked to armed conflict. It's worth knowing. Number 7 and 8, zombie fungi and dinosaur fleas. 2 final horrors from the Mesozoic, and both of them are about getting inside something else. The fungus is Ophiocordyceps. You might know it from The Last of Us. In 2025, a paper described 2 amber-preserved insects, an ant and a fly, killed by this fungus 99 million years ago. The oldest confirmed examples. On the fly specimen, you can see the fungal fruiting body growing directly out of its head. 99 million years, and the image still reads instantly. Here's how it works today. A spore lands on an ant, penetrates the exoskeleton, hijacks the nervous system, forces the ant to climb to a specific height, clamp its jaws onto a leaf vein, and die. Then the fungus erupts from the body and rains spores down on the colony below. The ant is alive for most of this. It walks, it climbs, it bites down. It just isn't choosing to. The fly specimen is strange because modern Ophiocordyceps almost never targets flies. That's a lost relationship, a host pairing that existed 99 million years ago and then disappeared. The fungus moved on, found better victims. And then there were the fleas. Pseudopolex, 165 to 125 million years ago. 10 times the size of a modern flea with serrated, saw-toothed mouthparts built for puncturing thick skin. They couldn't jump. No enlarged hind legs, they crawled onto their hosts. And they were flat, not compressed side to side like modern fleas, but flattened top to bottom, like bedbugs. Claws designed to grip over scales. Their probable hosts were feathered dinosaurs, Microraptor, Sinosauropteryx, small theropods with plumage, and parasites the size of your fingernail crawling through it. The video started with giants. It ends with something that gets under your skin. Here's the thing. Insects didn't shrink because they got weaker. The world changed around them. Oxygen dropped. Birds evolved. Suddenly the sky had predators with binocular vision and hollow bones, and the agility to catch anything that flew too slowly or grew too big. A dataset tracking insect body size over 300 million years shows that size tracked oxygen almost perfectly until the Cretaceous. Then the correlation broke. Birds broke it. But the potential is still there. Giant weta on predator-free islands weigh more than griffin flies did. Goliath beetles push the limits of what modern oxygen allows. The genetic machinery for building something enormous hasn't disappeared. It's just been suppressed. The door that made all of this possible isn't locked. It's just closed. And the things standing on the other side are very, very patient.